Hello, spiritual seekers of the truth. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, we are going to discuss a subject that all of you have been writing into me. You've all been sending me messages and little comments on my posts that you want me to talk about twin flames or twin souls. Some people call it twin souls, twin flames, sort of all the same. But since I'm not an expert in this area, I just have very limited information about what a twin flame actually is. I have invited on my YouTube show today, Reverend Sarah Nash of the White Light Express, who is here with me. And just to tell you a little bit about Sarah, Sarah is the founder of the White Light Express back in 2001, and that is an organization, a nonprofit organization for world peace and intercessory prayer, which is amazing. And she is the founder. She's also a Melchizedek priest and ordained by Dan Chesborough. She is a Reiki master teacher. She is a Jungian trained analyst. She is a spiritual response practitioner, and she also is a rescue medium, a grief and trauma counselor, a life coach, an amazing life coach. She's helped me so much over the years, you have no idea. And she's been counseling people professionally since 2009. And Sarah and I met each other. It's kind of an interesting story. We met each other through a woman who was putting together a program for psychic kids. She wanted to have a special TV show that was created to help kids who have psychic gifts, paranormal gifts, and stuff like that. And she was working, and she had found me, and I was kind of trying to help her. And then somehow Sarah and I got connected through this woman. And even though the show never wound up happening for whatever reason, I'm not sure, because Sarah and I both have psychic children, so we would have loved to had this type of show, but it didn't work out. But the cool part is that now Sarah and I have known each other since, what, 2011, I think?
Yeah,
And,
yeah, like right before that, like late, yeah, it was 2011.
Yeah, 2011.
And I like that number 11.
Yeah, me too, right? 11, the
We're
gate.
both number addicts. We're like, ah!
Yeah, we're both number addicts. 1111. We're both obsessed with 1111. We both see it all the time. We get it all the time. We post it all the time. But anyways, we've had a great relationship since 2011. And speaking of twin flames or twin souls, we're going to also talk about your, what did we say? The other word is not the twin, but the soul, what do you call it? What's the word? I lost it.
I mean, okay, so we have a lot of soulmates.
Soulmates, that was the word.
Yeah,
soulmate.
Okay. You have a soulmate that comes into your, because as I understand it, and thank you for that great introduction, by the way. I was just like,
you're welcome.
Oh, yeah. And just so you know, Kimberly has a list this long too. I mean, and then this long, and then this long. It's like I find out all these things. Like, you are a meditation expert. And I've seen it. I've seen you drop into it just like, ah, boom. I'm like, whoa. Yeah, so it's it's like what I'm not really good at, you're really good at. And
yeah, Sarah, yeah, you compliment me. Like all the things, I am a Reiki practitioner. I'm not a Reiki master teacher, but I did go through level 2 certification, as well as 7 other types of energy healing. But yeah, you and I basically are like exact complements of each other with all of the,
like, which one of us is what is that? Mini me who complete me.
Right? I love that movie. Anyways, all right. Well, let's start talking today about twin souls. So, this is actually your twin flames. I have the same questions. I'm going to actually be asking Sarah today the same kind of questions that you all have been asking me. I've been getting all of these questions that I can't answer. It's terrible. I wish I could, but it's just not an area I ever really studied or got into. And so I'm going to be asking Sarah pretty much the same things that you've been asking me and that you want to know. So the first question, Sarah, is, oh my goodness, what exactly is a twin flame? Like, what is the basic description of a twin flame?
I mean, I don't know. Everything that I'm going to say is not written in stone, okay? I can only give what my, based on my studies, which have been extensive, and my search for my first, it was soulmate. Where's my soulmate? And I read who was a author of Jonathan Livingston Seagull, Richard Bach, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he wrote one, okay? And then Edgar Casey, he talked about soulmates too. And so this is why I was like running around my bookcases trying to find them. I told you that before we started, because I was very familiar and met and spent some time with the one who wrote Edgar Casey's missive on soulmates. And oddly enough, I'm just like, I can't remember names right now. But yeah, and it's and then there's your soul's plan, and there's all these amazing things about how to fight. Dick Sutphin, and God bless you, Dick. You just left this.
Yes, he was amazing.
And he was the first one who taught me way back when. And then so many people were angry with him when he left his first wife, because they were, and he talked about how they were soulmates, and how could he do that to his soulmate? So, then meeting Robert Schwartz, who wrote Your Soul's Plan. Now, he was the first person that I met him at the Ohio Metaphysical meeting. And I was just blown away, because he was the first person that I'd met who had seen some of the things that I had seen. And I mean, he's just taken it off to a whole new level. And so he writes about your soul's plan. And that's important when you realize that this is the greatest trip of this life.
Yeah.
You're not just you just jump in and just go, wee. And I think that's where a lot of people get the whole sim idea, like it's a holographic universe, because you get to sit inside. I know a lot of people don't know Ender's Game or what have you, but you do get to sit inside a simulated reality before you get here. And so there's a lot of this overlapping stuff that happens, and it gets real quantum and fractal and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, what is a soulmate? A soulmate is someone that you have agreed to meet on your path in your soul plan, because if they got to pick you up at the airport and take you along the way, and if they don't show up, you're kind of screwed. So you have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. It's like soulmates are people who are here to make sure that it's an agreement. They're not just look what I can do. They're there to help you on your journey, so that you can learn all that you need to learn and move to the next level. I mean, dang, you've taught me so much that I had to step aside. I'm like, that's not true. And Kimberly's like, okay, sure. And then later on I find out, I'm sorry. Yeah, what is a soulmate? It's a teacher. It's a friend. It literally is a friend of the soul. Kurt Vonnegut wrote about it in Cat's Cradle. It was like and he called it a cross. And they actually have an opposite of that too. People who come in to screw up your soul plan. And so Kurt Vonnegut said that there were, and that's where Dick Sutphin also, there's 12 people. There's that number again, but I'm not going to get, but there is a certain set amount of people that you incarnate with again and again. And they call that the cross.
Your soul family, basically.
So in my channeling, I came across, I had an experience with Nash, and he was showing me the flower of life. And he said to me, here's your petal. And it was, it was a very specific petal. And so you set it on there. You set it on there. You set it in the big picture, right? Yeah. This flower connects with that flower, and that flower connects with that flower. Not everybody is a daisy, right?
Right.
So you got to hold it up, and you got to go, does this match my garden? And I have my ideas about the Garden of Eden, what is the Garden of Eden? Some people will take it very literally. It was actually a place and they can point to it on a map. To me, the garden is filled with all different kinds of flowers. And so Monsanto came along. We will put the sunflower
Right.
rose, and now we have these. It's like, you can't do that. No,
GMO.
that's not part of God's plan.
Right? The GMOs. So don't you think that, don't you feel though that soulmates, as you know, in difference to a twin soul or whatever you call it, a soulmate, you come back with that person over and over again in several lives. Like you and I have known each other many times before. My husband and I have known each other many times before. My daughter and I have known each other. I mean, don't you feel like you keep coming back with that person several times?
It depends. I mean, it really depends, because I mean, I can think of people that I've met and I'm just like, oh my God, I knew you. But they're not necessarily part of my soul plan. They are, you know, it's sort of like when you go to a university, you have all these different classes and all these different things. Not everybody is interested in botany.
Right.
But you might need to know a botanist so that you can get along, you know, with this. We're all in it together. Number one, we're all in it together. Just because this is my soul group doesn't mean I don't get to hang out for 4,000 years with that person's soul group.
Right.
You need to learn. I mean, let's face it. Here's what I do know. You have channeled Yeshua, as have I. One of the most amazing things he said to me was, are we not all gods? Are we not all immortal?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so that in and of itself is yeah, what is your soul? It's that divine spark. It's different from your consciousness.
Yes.
At least you know, I mean, it's like,
yeah, your soul and your consciousness are two separate things.
So as a soul mate, you know, I have this, we are all soulmates, and ultimately our soul belongs to Creator Source. So
right.
I just always, you know, it's like the whole twin flame thing, the when I wrapped around my head around soulmates, I was like, oh, okay, that was it. Dun, 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 dun. And then I started hearing about twin flames. And so when you asked me, what is a twin soul? Conversation this morning, I'm like, so twin flames and twin souls evidently are like the same. It's
the same thing. It's just a different way of saying it, basically.
So I was like, okay. When I began looking at the whole twin flame element, I just what I knew and what I heard from my team and my guides, who I just they were like, yeah, that's a diversion. And part of it is because we are in this point. We are in this age of Aquarius. And so there's this whole changing of the guard. We're under new management. It's, you know, the shifting and this, that, and the other. And so as we know, there are the Magdalene essence and the essence of Yeshua, that when you get really close to Source and you really get close to the end of the story so that a new story can be written, yeah, then people start picking up this energy because it's important. You're holding on to the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and you really want that. You really want to have that perfect partner, perfect sex, perfect days, no arguing, always the right music, and, you know, happiness and joy forever. They're always looking for that perfect thing that will make them complete. And I love that. You know, me too.
Yeah, everybody's seeking. So what people come to me wanting to know is, they're like, how can you help me find my twin? They all want me to help them find their twin flame. They're like desperate to meet they're like, I really want to meet my twin flame. And it's like this almost desperation, or like, and I think it's because so many bad things, this has been a huge explosion of these people that are desperate to meet their twin flame right now, because of all the bad things happening on the planet. People are so distraught and stressed out and traumatized. I mean, people are seriously traumatized right now from all of the events that have been unfolding. And so they need something to look forward
address
to.
that. I'm not going to can I talk over you for just a moment? Because
Sure.
the trauma, that part of it is so real. Yeah, they are getting to that place because we are human. We are human, remembering something that it's like, oh my God, part of me is missing. No, part of you is not missing. Number one, it's not missing. But because, I'm an emotional genius. Like I can't explain it, but it's the thing is I know the pain of that, oh God. So we all have cosmic PTSD.
Yeah.
And when you get really close to the end of an eon or an end of an age or something, it's like, oh my God, you just want to reach out and touch that element of and it's fear, because my God, we have been kept apart from our divine centers for so long. Now that we're getting really close, it's like, think of all the fairy tales that are written and how they cross. Like, what I know and what I understand is that reaching out, that desire to be a part of, and the more it grows, is, let's face it, it's the power of positive focus intention. It is that mass energy. So you have to address it. What I know, and I I'm like, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but 9 times out of 10, your twin, the one that you are really, really like, you're gonna connect at some point in the future and create worlds of your own. Yet he or she or it, they are out learning stuff too. And you're here doing this thing here, and you make agreements. It's like, very simply, it's like, one of my very best friends' husband is a trucker. She sees him about every 2 weeks, and that's perfect. Your honey bunny is typically your twin flame, that person that you can co-create reality with, is not here. That doesn't make any sense. And when you do connect, you have monumental purpose. Like, we were talking about people, I was like, I don't think that it really happens.
We were talking earlier that there is just very few people on the planet whose twin soul or twin flame is actually here at the same time as them. Everybody seems to believe their twin soul is all here because there's all these people that are, and I hate to say the word charlatan, but there are so many phony psychics and spiritual people and coaches out there. It just blows my mind. And they all have these programs they're offering for hundreds and thousands of dollars to meet your twin flame in your twin flame development program, which to me is a joke in my case, where my twin flame is not on the earth right now. My twin flame is actually on the other side.
You know that in a way that other people don't. And so I'm not gonna point fingers, but I mean, if they're out there saying that they can do this and that, whatever. See, because I haven't paid attention to it, only because I got other things to read about. So I looked down into it, and I said, as far as I know, like, the only real human beings that have actually connected as twin flames were Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. That was a divine union. Yes. And then you said, well, what about so and so and so and so, and one of these couples we know. And I was like, oh yeah, because we are at the end of an epic. We are we are under new management. So of course these really power couples have come together to help move into the new paradigm. So that's an example of me stepping aside from oh yeah, okay, cool, yeah, that could be. But I mean, it's rare.
Yeah, I think it is rare, and I think what people are confusing, and what they have confused in the past, is the twin flame with the soulmate thing. Like, they're confusing the two. So many people are searching really for their soulmate, but then they've been told all this stuff about the twin flame, and now all of a sudden it's, I got to find my twin flame, I've got to connect with my twin flame, I've got to be with my twin flame, when realistically it's really, again, about really a soulmate, not a twin flame.
Well, and also let's remember, you're never separate from your twin flame.
Right.
Because your twin flame has that, if you think of the fractalization, and we're getting into quantum physics and what have you, but at the end of the day, you're never really separated from that essence, because that essence is, it's sort of like that trifecta. You know, you and I have talked about that triangle, you know,
right.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Mother, Maiden, Crone, you know, and you know, yeah. So your twin flame directly are connected to source. So I think it's important to maybe think, if these people that are teaching these classes or what have you don't teach that your twin flame, you can, I mean, you don't need to go to somebody else to find it, right? You look within. And
exactly.
so what happens is that they're looking at, people want to look outside of
themselves. Yes,
that's
for all the
also
answers.
Part of the cabal, or cabal, I don't want to, but the plan of wickedness is to teach people to look outside of themselves for the answer.
Well, just like the people who want priests and other type of religious leaders to be their intermediary between them and God, when Yeshua taught us to go direct to God. We have our direct connection to
exactly
source.
There is nothing, you know, there's nothing between thee and me. Right. And you know, I've had some experiences, and one very specific experience where I didn't, you know, I literally had to look within, and there I was okay. And that was the first time I had to trust the God light within myself. And it was, And so I think what's happening is that people want to hand off responsibility to something outside of them.
Yes.
Because it's, if we haven't learned how to be accountable for our own stuff, like, you know, if I want to keep blaming my husband for everything else that goes wrong, then you're going to do that to your twin flame. So it's not going to happen. You know, you have to know how to communicate, right? And that's hard.
So Sarah, what advice would you have for some of these clients that I have coming to me who say that they understand that their twin flame isn't here on earth, but they want to know, how do they talk to their twin flame and find out their name? Like, they all want to know their name. That's the biggest question. Like, how would they, what do you recommend would be the easiest and quickest way for them to actually connect
why is it
intuitively?
To know the name?
I don't know why, but everybody who comes to me wants to know the names of their guides, their angels, their twin flame. They all want to know that. That's like inquiring minds want to know. And what is the name of my soulmate? What's the name of my twin flame? What's the name?
It was more rhetorical, because one of my guides, when I first really started, and back in 2009, when I had my Kundalini experience, and I started, like, you know, I thought I was going nuts. You know, one of them came in and he said his name. It's like in The Fifth Element. You know, she's like, my name is.
Yeah, I can't pronounce it.
Lilu. Yeah.
Right.
Because, you know, some of our guides have these names that we can't. And so his name, and so I went, Anam. So I called him Anam. If it's important to know the name, then there's something else going on. And that is a very, very private element between you and that twin flame, because you're not just going to give that name to just anybody. I mean, even there are certain religions, even the Mormons, when they take they're consecrated in the temple, they're given a very special name, and that is you don't walk out there and plaster it everywhere. That's just for you to know. It's between you and God. It's not written down. Well, I don't know. I haven't been, but at the end of the day, though, if it's important for you to have a name, understand that there's a reason beyond. As one who has been very, very good at talking to demons, when you know their name, You know, when you know their name, you can find them. You can, yeah.
I didn't know the name of any of the demons I destroyed, unfortunately. I just went and destroyed them, but I didn't know their names. So,
well, why would you want to?
I didn't really care. I didn't care what their names were. I was there to kick their ass, and
well,
that was all that mattered.
Names. It's like, you know, names, darling, names. You know, I was born with a name, and then my adopted parents gave me another name. And then when I turned of legal age, I also gave myself my own name. And now it's interesting because when I get phone calls for Sydney, I know that it's that time in my life when that was going on. So it's yeah. And all my friends from high school, they wouldn't know to look for Sarah. They'd be looking for Debbie. You know, how many names do you have?
Right.
Right? So
yeah, I've had a lot of names too.
So, you know, what good is it to know the name of someone that you can't pick up the phone and call? Because if you want to talk to your twin flame, you're going to have to spend some time and some serious meditation, go out and about, or maybe it's going to happen where you're sitting in your car waiting for that train to finish running. I mean, it's like, what's the point? The point is that people are obsessing on things that are outside of them because they've had shitty, can I say shitty? Because they've had horrible relationships. Yeah. You know, they need to know that there is something greater outside of them that they can look forward to. Well, what about God? Your twin flame is in God.
I think you just packed it about them looking forward to something. Like I was saying, people are just so upset and disillusioned right now and angry and frustrated over the situation of the world. And they're looking for something outside of themselves that will give them hope and joy and peace and happiness when they really need to just read my book because it tells them how to do that. No,
yes, exactly. But see, that's hard work and that's boring. You know, it's like they want to go straight to E equals MC squared and do quantum physics, and they still don't know that 2 + 2 is 4. I mean, yeah, it's this constant work, and it is work. It is constant work. You know, they shouldn't call it enlightenment. They should call it endarkenment.
Right. Well, yeah, because you have to see a lot of darkness to figure out.
You know, it's not easy. It is not easy following this path and taking time to sit down and ask questions. And let's face it, people are dying for love.
Yes, that's the biggest thing. Everybody is lacking love in their life. And that's why I have a lot of my clients doing a love meditation. And I just cannot get over the amount of people who have been, I don't want to call it self-abusing. Let's just say lack of care for themselves because they don't love themselves enough unconditionally the way God loves them. They don't see themselves the way God sees them.
And our inner critics and our inner mean girls, because let's face it, you know, we are human. And this is the other thing. We are special. And I don't go for this whole, I looked at this for a while about, you know, there's 30 trillion other planets and aliens out there that are far more interesting than us. Well, we don't get, that's nice. Right now, we have been living in this very specific place. We're rare. It really are. So let's not worry about all the governments and the other civilizations and, you know, epics and things like that, because right now we are in this place of this incredible ascension process. And what does apocalypse mean? It means taking the
veil, removing the veil.
So yeah, people are now really scrambling to get close to their twin flame, to know that that person is out there, because we've been stuck here for a really long time. It's like,
I know, we've been suffering too.
My name.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's the suffering that people want to get rid of, the pain and the suffering. And I also think that the reason, this is my personal opinion about the twin flame thing, is people have a desperation to have someone in their life who has their back. A lot of people are not getting the support they need. They're not being heard or listened to. Nobody will listen to them. I have so many clients who come to me who have an issue with people just don't listen to them, or they diss them, or they mistreat them or abuse them. And they really badly just need somebody who will just listen to them and put their arm, hold them. And, even if it's not physically hold them, but just kind of hold them in a space, hold a space for them, listen to them and give them the support they need. And I think the twin flame thing, people want that because they want there to be somebody there who's kind of like their support net, or their other half that's there, that's going to listen to them and love them unconditionally, and not abuse them and not bully them and not mistreat them. They want somebody that loves them, that's going to be there. And I think they're thinking in their minds that twin flame is that person that is going to just love them and cherish them, kind of like the perfect marriage, when you say the marriage vows, to love, honor, and cherish until death do us part. And if you look at all the broken marriages all over America, and all the people who are staying married, who are not loving and honoring and cherishing their spouse. And so I think they so badly want to just be loved, honored, and cherished. And they're being told, oh, you have this twin flame out there. And the twin flame is like this person who just is your other half, is just like you, and is going to just love you no matter what. And that is what they're looking forward to, that. They have like hope in that. It's giving them hope.
And there's that element too of, returning to the source. And, if it's your other half, then there's part of you there. What I'm really seeing as you're talking, I like literally had a vision. I really did. And I love when that happens, because it comes directly out of your third eye. And I'm like looking at this and I'm like, yeah. So what I saw as you were speaking was that, you're feeling all of this pain that these people are coming to you with. And you're like, well, remembering that for you, it's so easy to reach out to God. And for others, it's not so much, because they've been programmed and conditioned. So the vision that I saw was, again, that I saw that as you speak, and what we can do for these people was that it was like a laser beam. So that cherishing and that being held and being seen, if you go directly in prayer, and you, meaning it's metaphorical, these people don't want to go to God to find their twin flame, because God has let them down. Mm-hmm. It's like, how can there be a God when do you know what's happening to children? It's like, but it's been happening for, it's
thousands of years, right?
Go to the source of love and light and all things. God knows all things. And if you think it's an old man sitting in the clouds pointing his finger at you saying, if you don't do these 10 things, you're going to burn in hell, but I love you. That was George Carlin, by the way. I love that. But that's not my God.
I miss George Carlin. He was
Brother
awesome.
George, yes. So, but I saw out of you, and it was like, hey, yeah, Pink Floyd. It was that the triangle with the rainbow going through it. You can find your twin flame, and you can connect with it, him, them, whatever, with that sense of, you've got to go to source. You've got to go to source. It's a laser beam of light, because only God knows where that entity is. And it's sometimes it's, so go to source, and your heart knows the name. Your heart, your consciousness, that divine spark inside of you. And that's boring. See? Mm-hmm. That's boring.
Because it's too simple. It's too simple. Yeah. They want a whole ritual that they do with these coaching programs, where they have to spend days and days and days doing all this stuff. And, and it's really just so simple. Like you said, it's just going to God. Like, just go have a chat with God, go directly to God, connect your hearts.
And all of those rituals, though, those rituals are for other things. You've got to put yourself in a safe place. Mm-hmm. I mean, there is the elements here that we have to remember. And you must be a witch. Earth, air, fire, water. What is the fifth element? Love.
Right.
And that's why we're here. You know, protect yourself. And when I teach my crystal blue sapphire meditation, or when I do any work, what is the first thing we do? Even before you and I started here, I went and I went to my grotto for the White Light Express, and I asked for love and light and protection to be placed around us, so that our
ground center and protect, which is what you taught me a long time ago. Ground center and protect.
Yeah, that's the cosmic triage. Yeah, stop, drop, and roll if you're on fire. And so that's the other thing. It's like when we're in trouble, that's when the angels come in and they assist us. But the thing is that we are accountable for setting a sacred space to sit down and have these conversations. And sometimes it's in your car, in your driveway. And people want ritual. People want to have, you need to point to the left only on Tuesdays at 4:15.
Or light a candle at a specific time and set it up on an altar in a specific place and burn some incense and, that type of thing.
Well, but see, not everybody can do that, and not everybody has that. So at the end of the day, though, if we look at the Bible, even Christ himself used the seasons and the phases of the moon. Everyone knows. I mean, if the moon can affect tides, then it's going to affect our bodies as well, because we're mostly water.
Well, we're mostly water, and the moon, well, my mother, I think I told you the story before, that my mother was an OBGYN nurse working in the labor and delivery for like 40 years. And she would tell me, oh my gosh, Kimberly, every time there's a full moon, the whole hospital fills up with women giving birth. They all give birth on the full moon because their water breaks, because we're mostly water, and the moon has such a huge effect on our body.
Gravity sucks.
Yeah.
Even police departments, they know.
Right.
It's like, get ready. The loony bin's open.
People go nuts on a full moon. They drive crazy. Like if I'm out on the road at night or during the day, even during a full moon driving, I notice erratic drivers everywhere. I mean, people just kind of lose their, what, every time there's a full moon. And then some of us, become a little more, with me, the full moon affects me differently. It makes me more, how do I want to put it? More in touch with the paranormal, like the spiritual realm. It makes me more I can't explain it, but it amplifies my psychic abilities, is what it is for me.
I've watched you do that for years.
Yeah, I get like an amplification of all of my honestly, my gifts get amplified when there's a full moon. So that's how it affects me. I don't get crazy. I don't get erratic. I just get amplification of my gifts. That's what I get. But
well, and see, therein lies that answer too, because you've done your work, and because you know how to center, ground, and protect, and you go within. And so a lot of these people who are really mentally ill, and other people, they haven't been taught. And so what is ritual? Ritual is learning how to be disciplined within the self. I have a terrible time with that. I do. So all of these classes, to go back to the people who are teaching this, some of these people are not charlatans. Some of these people just have all the answers. I mean, I don't have all the answers. You don't have, well, you might. But.
No, I don't have all the answers. I'm not perfect.
But see, it's important for us to know and honor that these people are really, I mean, they're desperate to know that they're connected to something.
They want to be connected to something.
Be connected to the great big is and ever was. Be connected to that.
I am that I am. I am that I am.
So when I tell people, your answers are there in that source. Oh my God, I have to pray. I have to believe in God. Boring. Right? It's so easy. Yeah. It's like, I'm like, when I take a walk out in my garden and then I commune with the flowers and, do all my fairy things, and, I feel at peace and whole. It takes a long time. And even you and I, with our massive amount of experiences, oh Lord, we do, and we say silly things that go, and I'm like, are you kidding me? like, Kimberly, come on. And every once in a while you're like, Sarah, we're here to remind each other. And it's important to create these sacred places and circles where people can step into and not be ashamed. You know, and that's the tool of Beelzebub, you know, the dark side, the cabal. They love shame. Yeah, because if they can shame you into something.
Yeah, I had a client the other day who the Catholic Church had loaded her with so much shame, blame, guilt, all of that stuff that she felt like she was just a, you know, horrible sinner. And
it's not just the Catholic Church, though.
Yeah,
it is all organized.
Other religions, lots of religions.
I mean, because if you can control what somebody does in the bedroom, you know, you can control what they do in their lives. If you control their food, you can control everything. There's two ways.
Yeah, food, sex, water. You know, they put all the fluoride in the water to calcify our pineal glands, so we can't have that direct connection with source. You know, you got that going on too.
That's all ending. That's all ending. And I don't blame people for really desperately reaching out and wanting to be a part of something other than this God that they have been, you know. Let's look at people who are waking up and they're finding out that which they were part of and worshipped and believed in at their core is just
it was all lies. It was all lies.
Everything is. Find the truth in everything. Find the truth in everything. And if you are really drawn to someone or something and you're listening to them and you feel as though that this person is really speaking truth, okay. But you know, it's like I like Don Miguel Ruiz said, after you follow the 4 agreements, right? The 5th one is listen, but be skeptical. Because at the end of it all, I mean, it is really between you and God.
It is. We all have our own truth. And that's the one thing I always tell, well, everybody who knows me knows I teach people how to be their own guru. I don't expect people to honor or accept my beliefs, my opinions, my ideas, because those are my beliefs and my ideas. They're my truth. Okay, I formulated my own truth based on my direct connection with source, my, you know, ability, my channeling, my, you know, being able to speak to my team. 42 years of studying metaphysics and paranormal and spirituality and world religion. You know, I've studied all the things, and then I developed my own truth. Well, other people need to do their research. Okay, I've been a researcher my entire life. Okay, they need to do their own research. They need to create their own connection, which is what I do. I teach people how to, and you do it too, both of us. We teach people how to formulate a connection directly to source so that they can figure out what is true for them, not take my truth. People are expecting, they're how do I want to say, adopting everybody else's belief systems as their own, and that needs to stop. From this point forward, going into the future, this is all going to end. Everybody is going to know their own truth. They're going to feel their own truth. And as we ascend and our consciousness opens and our abilities, our paranormal psychic abilities start to just explode, because we're going to be in this 5th dimensional consciousness, people will have the truth, the real truth, because they will be directly connected.
It'll be the truth for that we are now in this new age. Which I believe in my truth, because I was a part of it, that it, you know, we crossed that, the clock ticked over on January 11th of this year. We were no longer in the dawning of the age of Aquarius. We are firmly, it was all signed, sealed, and delivered for me and my group. And you know, that's great. For some people, it was February 17th of 2000, I don't know. But see, we each get to have our own, you know, it's like I stepped into that knowledge that we were here. Somebody might have stepped into it back in 87 for all I know. So
I hear that. I hear 87. I hear 2012. It's so funny because everybody tells me different years that all this started. They go, oh, Kimberly, Age of Aquarius started with the harmonic convergence in 1987, you know, and then I hear other people say, no, it started with the Mayan thing in 2012. And then everybody else says, no, it started in 2019 when the grid was removed. And it's like, who the heck cares when it started? Honestly, I don't give a rat's patootie when it started. The fact of the matter is we are now in the age of Aquarius. We're in it now, and it's so amazing. And I am so freaking excited to be here on earth right now. Every day I'm going to bed now going, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm like so grateful to be here right now. It's just so exciting to me because I keep getting visions of what my life is going to look like in the coming years. And I keep seeing the future, our future. And it's just so freaking incredible that I can't even contain my excitement. You know, it's just awesome.
Exactly. But see, that's you. And right now there's this whole contingent of people who could give a flying, you know, what's it? Because all they want is to know that they are cherished and loved, because they are putting all of their, it's like, if I could only find that one person who is going to make me complete. If I know that that one person is out there, you know, it's like, is he or she going to incarnate soon? You know, and so I look at that, and that's why I stepped away from it, because my work had to really focus on cosmic triage, and yeah, because I have this sensation and this feeling inside of me too, but I don't get to talk about it because I've got to do other things. And it's like, so that, and not only that, let's look at all the people who have been indoctrinated with guilt and shame for the Catholic Church. If you get divorced, that's it, man. You can only have one person and one person only. And if you know if you commit adultery, you know, it's like, am I committing adultery by loving my husband or my wife or my boyfriend or my girlfriend? Is my twin flame going to be jealous? Well, if you have to ask that, step back. Look at the, you know. Are you going to be jealous? How would you like to know if your twin flame was out there hanging out with Zora from the 9th dimension? You know?
Right.
What's my twin flame doing? What is that guy doing? He hasn't been home in 3 weeks. That son of a gun.
Oh my gosh. So as you were talking, I was getting a download from my team who was explaining to me that I have to keep reminding people that in order for them to be as bad as they want a twin flame or a soulmate or this or that, until they are happy and content with their own self and being all alone with themselves, they're not going to be of any use or good to the other person. The other person who comes into their life, like let's say I have all these people who want me to help them manifest the love of their lives, okay? And I do this all the time for people, and it works too. I mean, I actually help people manifest their husband or wife. I've been doing it for years. But the one thing I tell people is that person is not in your life to make you happy. You have to make you happy. If you cannot be happy and love yourself and be totally fine with yourself all alone by yourself, then you're not going to be any better with that other person. It's just going to go downhill, because that person should be like the cherry on the top of the sundae. You are the sundae. You are the whole enchilada. That needs to be the olive on the top of the whole enchilada, okay?
I don't like olives.
Yeah.
But see, so, there it is. It's like, until you are absolutely, you know, divine oneness with yourself, darling, you will never find the other. Right. You know, and I've got these women are like, you know, the guy that I want to have, he better have a good job. He better have his own car. He better have this, and this. And then I'm looking at them, and then they go, and he better look like Jason Momoa. And I'm thinking to myself, girl, I just, you know, I want to go, honey, listen, sweetie, you know, you're not going to get all that yoga yourself. You know,
yeah, you're not going to get all of that. You have to be.
But the thing is, how is it that we can be alone with ourselves? You and I both know our inner mean girls are terrible.
Oh, mine is horrible. I beat myself up all the time.
You're not beautiful enough.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah.
And so tell them to learn the languages of love through Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Languages of Love. When you learn how to speak the language of love of the person that you're with, you know, I mean, then you begin to understand why he never says you're beautiful. I mean, you and I have been down this path, and not.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
You know, it's like, some people show that you're beautiful by acts of service. Some people, I mean, it's like, yeah. So if you're so busy looking outside, and not you, but
not within yourself, yeah.
You know, it's like, be at one with yourself and be your own twin flame. Really, I can't stand myself. Yeah. So, you know, if you are really comfortable with yourself, at least 70% of the time, you're better than so many other people. And then you can start looking out and have a really good relationship with the person you're with. What is that song? You know, if you can't be with the one you love, love the one you're with.
Love the one you're with. I love that song. Yeah.
Me too. And it's like, and what is love? You know, we got Tina Turner. What's love got to do?
Yeah, there's a lot of songs.
You should put that thing out there with Tina Turner and her chants. Unless, of course, she's part of, I mean, that's the other thing.
She's not. She's a very devout Buddhist, and she's actually a good person. She's
we're not going to go, we'll have a conversation about that some other time. But so, yeah, your twin flame is out there, you know, and maybe he or she is sitting in a fire, you know, and look in the fire. And I don't mean like literally burning up. God, please, that's not it. Sorry if I triggered anyone. The thing is yes, you have a divine consort. And by divine consort, I do mean divine consort. And it is so beyond what you can possibly think of. And not
you can't wrap your head around it. You cannot wrap it.
And not because you're ignorant or anything. But
no, it's because we're in a human brain. In our human brain, we only use like what, a quarter of it or something like that. So it's almost impossible to really see.
Well, I mean, it's like, yeah, we did the constructs that we come up with. But just know, I firmly believe, yes, we each have a divine consort. We do. And just, you know, but you really work on yourself now and have a really good relationship with the person that you're with, because they might be with you for another 4,000 years or 4 minutes time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and at this time, I think I need to point out to all of my followers and listeners too, which is something I'm always saying, that because of this turmoil and time that we're going through with this ascension process, that between now and the end of the year, things are going to be kind of yucky. So the biggest thing you need to do for yourself is love yourself unconditionally, drink lots of water, eat a healthy diet, get some exercise, do things every day to give you joy and happiness. And really do self-care, 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 because as the energies get crazier and crazier through the rest of the year, your little body is going to be greatly affected, and you need to do a lot of self-care and a lot of love instead of worrying about.
A lot of people don't know what self-care is. And so, I mean, because I know what your self-care is, and I can't meditate like you do, man. You just drop down, and I've watched you go for like 2 hours. I mean,
the minute I sit in the position, I'm just, boom, I'm there, because I've been doing it 20.
Self-care is being kinder and gentler with your inner mean girls. And is it going to be icky? The power of positive focused intention. What is your intention? We are living in this time of, and I used to call it COVID and chaos. And then my guides were like, why don't we call it COVID and compassion? And then it came along with cocooning and compassion. Because icky, I think tomatoes are icky.
Hopefully my video doesn't get removed for mentioning the C word, because supposedly everybody on YouTube who mentions the C word, they shut their video down, or they shut their station down, or whatever.
I truly believe that it has a lot to do with the content. And if they shut us down, then, you know, that's a really good sign. We must be onto something, right? Right.
we're hitting a sore spot with them.
It's like the first time I got hate mail. And I was like, oh my God. My girlfriend, she said, oh, you've made it. I'm like, what? She said, you're starting to piss people off. You must be saying something right.
I had this chat with Jay Mata the other day. Jay Mata from Spiritually Raw, him and his wife interviewed me on their show. And him and I were talking about the hater comments of the people who are the really asleep people who are attacking me, saying I'm going to go to hell because I said that Yeshua was married and that his real name wasn't Jesus, it was Yeshua or Yeshua. So they were having a fit and saying what a horrible person I am and blah, blah. And he said that that's a barometer that you are, you've made it, that you're successful. He said he'd be worried if nobody, how did he put it? He said, if nobody ever made any negative comments at all, he said, I'd be very worried. That's exactly what he said to me. He said, if nobody, you know, because you're pushing the little buttons, you're getting their thought and their juices going in their brain and thinking about things, and maybe you're opening up some ideas like, oh, what if that's the truth? Or what if, you know, you're getting them thinking, and it's riling them up, and it's pushing little buttons and triggering them because of all of the bad beliefs that they've been programmed. They've had all this programming and mind control since they were born, and they're being triggered, and so they're reacting
before they were born. It's, you know,
exactly.
Being a Reiki master teacher, I'm able to look at the quantum elements of what's in our DNA. And that's why I have it around my
the DNA on your
my
wrist.
little post-it note.
Yes.
It says, hey, you know, and it's everybody has their own the thing that they want to hold on to more than anything. And you know, he could never be married because why couldn't he be married? Because he was expected. He was the son of God.
Oh my gosh.
He was God.
Well, you know, that's what they say. He was God, he's the son of God, and he was God, and they don't separate the two out. But yet in the Bible, he says that we are like gods. He tells us that we are gods.
With regard to the Bible, all right, you know, let's keep in mind that the Bible is blessed by a divine spirit, period, end of story.
Right.
It speaks in allegory, it speaks in code,
parables,
and there's so much in there. And let's remember, it was King James that decided that all of the, you know, the Gnostics, the hidden Bible, this Bible,
they took out the Apocrypha, they took out the book of Enoch and the book of there's a whole bunch. Mary Magdalene wrote a book.
Not only that, you know, if I ever find out who started that fire at the Library of Alexandria.
The library in Alexandria.
We're going to talk about that because I still haven't gotten over that. Talk about, yeah.
So I just found out, speaking of the library in Alexandria, this blew my mind. And then I asked my team if it was true. And they're like, yeah, because I didn't know about this. But apparently, before the Romans burned the library in Alexandria, they took all of the old relics and the ancient extraterrestrial writings that were written by the Nephilim and the Anunnaki that went back thousands and thousands of years ago. They took all the books out of there and they put them in the Vatican. And the Vatican, in their what do you call it? Their chambers down below. They have all of the ancient texts that were in.
Oh, they have some of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I asked because I didn't believe. I'm like, really? And so I asked my guide team, my angels and guides. I said, "Is this true?" And they're like, They have a whole bunch of the books.
Acharya. That's one of the reasons why she wrote her book. You know, the greatest conspiracy ever told. Because,
right.
I mean, you know, it's like she had it in her own little. Yeah. At the end of the day, though, it doesn't really matter because it's not just in the Vatican, in their archives. There's a lot of information in a lot of places that was saved. But at the end of it all, though, he who gets to write, he who gets to make the history is the one who owns it.
Right.
So there you go. You have a twin flame. I think you and
everybody has a twin flame, right? Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, man.
Or is there some people who don't?
I don't think everybody does. I think that
I don't either.
That there are some people who they're still at that place in their journey. Some people don't ever want to have that. So their twin flame is God. I mean, if we look at what, there are a lot of religions out there and Catholic nuns, my gosh. You know, how many wives does Yeshua have? They're all the bride of Christ. You know, I mean, it's just like, who is it that you are going to devote yourself to? Mm-hmm. And I think some people just, it's, you know, it's them and God. God is their twin flame. You know, greater source is their twin flame. And it's a very emotional, and I'm trying to describe something that is just beyond our, you know,
comprehension.
There is not enough ayahuasca on the planet.
Well, you and I try to dumb down and simplify stuff for our friends and family and our clients as much as we humanly can, because I know myself, and I think you too, when we get visions and we see this information, I can't articulate it in a way that a human brain can even understand it. And I mean, my own mind is like blowing up going, oh my God. I mean, it's just so vast and so overwhelming, some of the information that comes through and the downloads I get, that I can't articulate it, but I try to take it and dumb it down and make it easy for people to understand as best as I possibly can.
And that's one of the reasons why I love you. And finding you after all these years, I finally found someone who I didn't have to like explain it to. It was an energetic thing, and it continues to be, because there are some things that you can't find words for. In fact, to speak words, it would be blasphemous. And so I'm just going to offer up this little nugget of truth that if you actually knew the name of your twin flame, it might be a little blasphemous in this flesh and blood vehicle. And if you knew it, maybe you wouldn't be able to hold on to the vibration and frequency of it. I mean, it's like, you know, it's Yeshua ben Pantera, the son of the panther. People are like, ah, panthers are bad.
Right?
Yeah, you know, there's so many different names. And the secret name of God. You know, what is your secret name? Do you have a secret name? I have a secret name.
I have a couple of secret names, but I can't share them.
I know, me too, right?
Not on here. I'm not going to.
Right? So there you go. So if you're asking yourself, how do I find the name of my guide? Okay. You know, there's all kinds of, you know, ways to do that. And you know, sometimes you must turn left to go right, grasshopper. You know, it's like you will never know the names of your guides. I mean, you know, maybe you will. Maybe you won't. Who am I to say?
Yeah. I don't, you know, I'm really lucky. I know the names of all my guides, but that's just because of my ability, you know, my high level of abilities, and I'm really tuned in. But honestly, it took me, and I mean, I'm going to be really honest with everyone here. It took me 3/4 of my life to get to the point where I knew the names of my guides, and I had been working on it for such a long time, and then I finally got it. And so the point I'm trying to make is that we're all a work in progress, and it's just practice, sitting in meditation every day and contemplating, you know, our prayer, meditation, prayer is meditation, sitting there and connecting every day. And it takes a while sometimes to find the information out. It doesn't just come instantaneously for all of us.
And not only that, be open to the possibility that you don't have all, and again, I'm not speaking about you, I'm speaking you metaphorically, but we can all be open to the possibility that we only have this much of the truth, and people want to hold on to their truth, that they would set themselves on fire to prove that they were what? I don't know. Let us all be open to, number one, the reason why I love you and I trust you. And you and I have been in, you know, in and out of some really interesting discussions. But at the end of the day, I know that you go back to the center and you touch your divine center. And so if you are, again, if people are not capable of going in and asking themselves and their divine center of what something they're hearing or a part of is true, then you've got to be open to the fact that you've been giving your authority. People give their permission to all kinds of people.
Right.
Permission.
Well, I've done it. I'm not perfect. I've given away, you know, you've caught me doing that before, so obviously.
Well, you've got me doing it too. It's like, sir, what the heck are you doing? You know, that's why so soulmates, we reach out and we help those, and sometimes our soulmates are there to teach us, you know, it's you know, if you're with an alcoholic husband or an alcoholic wife or something, or your partner is engaging in using substances, at some point you have to say that person is an addict and walk away to care for yourself. I know, I've been there. That person is your soulmate. Just know that love that you have for them, that is beyond, people want to call it trauma drama, codependency. And at the end of it all, you know that it's not that, it's something else. Honor that and move on. That's self-care. Find that place where you are no longer sitting outside of somebody's torture chamber and listening to them scream, because that's not witnessing. That's something else.
Well, being a victim, there's a lot of people who are the victim, but I think you need to love yourself.
No, sometimes love goes beyond victimhood.
I think it's love. And I mean, I'm not going to go into my story, but let's just say I've put it this way. I've allowed myself, and it was my choosing, I've allowed myself in my lifetime to put up with people in situations that I never should have because it was abusive to me, but I did it because I loved that person so much.
And they were a soulmate.
Yeah.
And they were put in there. You agreed that, and you all had these agreements, you know, that okay, I'm going to come in there and we're going to do this together. And, you know, they didn't hold up to their end of their agreement, or maybe they did. But if we get into that place of judging, yeah, do you think you can actually be with your twin flame and judge them?
No, not at all. Well, and the other thing, you know, and I explained that in the book too, is when we come in with these groups of people, the same people over and over, like our spouse, our children, our parents, our aunts and uncles, you all came together before you came here, and you made an agreement that this is how it was going to play out. You know, I'm going to be the drunk. It's kind of like putting on a costume in a Shakespearean play. Okay, in this lifetime, I'm going to play the drunken uncle. In this lifetime, I'm going to play the pedophile uncle. In this lifetime, I'm going to play the priest uncle, who's a really good guy, a really nice guy. You know.
Let's end with this, because I just kind of looked at the time, and I'm just thinking, and I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Here's what I do know. With regard to the masks and everything and the roles that we were playing, I just want people to understand that a lot of our contracts are null and void. We were holding on to a lot of contracts that, I mean, even some of the people that came in, it no longer applies. If you were meant to be this, well, it doesn't matter anymore. You might, yeah, I mean, and that's where a lot of the chaos is coming from too, because there's that, if you don't know what you're supposed to do and all your flights have been canceled, again, let's go back to that, you know, your soul plan, right? If you are sitting, so everyone, we're sitting in God's airport, okay? It's O'Hare. LaGuardia. You're sitting in an airport. The weather is freaking out. All the flights have been canceled. You know, they're running on generators. You can't get a cell phone call out to your children. I mean, honey, that's where we're at right now. All the flights have been canceled. There's only one going out, and that's because, you know, maybe not even that one. But let's look at it this way. We are all in this airport together. We are in it together. Look around at the people that you are with. Find out where you're going to be comfortable and who you can talk to. You know, if you've got 16 screaming children, and that woman over there does too, find the one who's really good at holding on to the babies, you know, and not going to eat them.
Right? Well, and aren't you the first one who ever told me that all of the contracts are now null and void? Like any contract that you made is no longer applies right now with this new paradigm that we're in, right? They don't apply.
That was the information that I got. I was like shocked. I mean, because I know what my contract was, and I know what other people's were, and then suddenly I'm like, wait a minute, you know, it was like I was looking at a piece of paper, and it just went completely blank. I don't have a contract with my soul mates. I mean, I have a contract with my twin flame. No, you don't have contracts with your twin flame.
Of course not.
Oh. Is that your phone or is that my phone? Yeah,
not my phone.
My alarm. It is the bells of truth.
Well, it's 4:06. I wanted to be done by 4:30, so there we go. So
yeah, so everybody, we're all in this airport, and I know you are desperate to get to your twin flame, and yeah, so yeah, you keep going up to the counter, going, when is this flight gonna go? When is this flight gonna go? I need to see. What's his name again?
Right.
What's her name again? I know she's out there, and so yeah, she or he is probably not in the airport you're in, but you can be with them, and for those who are with them, and you and I know a couple, and you know, it's Yeah.
I know a few couples here on earth that are with their twin flame, without a doubt. Totally, they are lucky. You know, there are a few
Well,
people.
because they're doing a bigger work.
It's because together as the twin flame couple, they are here to do huge work, like huge, like I'm not going to name who they are, but let's just say that the ones that I know are just doing such huge leadership in New Earth, and they're doing massive healing on people, and they're just, I mean, they're incredible. You know, they're like Jesus and Mary Magdalene. I mean, they're just incredible.
They are.
So yeah.
And they and not only that, you will never know them.
You will never know them. And here's what's so amazing is the people who are doing the most amazing work here on planet Earth are not famous. They're not rich. They're not, celebrities. They're not in the limelight. They don't have coaching programs that they're selling for $50,000. They're not doing any of that. They are the superheroes behind the scenes that are creating our new
cosmic witness protection program.
Yes.
And I'm not going to say that the people out there who are holding on to the vibration and the frequency of authenticity are not actually, I mean, some of them do have great coaching programs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of them are, doing, I mean, there's nothing wrong with money. There's nothing wrong with any of that.
It's a tool. It's a tool.
Money is not the root of all evil. Greed is.
No, it's not. It's just a tool. I say that too to people, that there are evil people. There's not such thing as evil money. Money is just a tool, and good people can use money for good, and bad people can use money for bad. But money is money. It's just a tool. Just a tool.
Right?
That's all it is.
It is what it is. But yeah, and so if you're looking for a really rich twin flame, he's going to have this much money, love.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, I want my twin flame to show up, and I want him to own a yacht and a mansion in the countryside and all sorts of wonderful things. It's like, no, not going to happen.
You better have a good job. Yeah. So, and I love these people who are just, what did you get really focused on at the beginning? A lot of the time, that twin flame is the gateway into learning
other things. Yeah.
So I just honor these people who just are really, they're very, very, they're open. Okay. Number one, you're open to the possibility that there's something bigger and greater outside of you connecting us. So I say, yay.
Yeah. Good for them for pursuing. Congratulations to all of you people seeking out your twin flame, because it means
keep
that you
seeking. Don't stop.
Don't stop.
And in the meantime, if you happen to walk into, the grocery store and you fall in love with that guy who's holding an orange.
Right? There you go.
Yeah. Feel that love. Grow. Have babies. Or not, grow gardens.
Well, and you earlier, one last thing I want to say is that earlier you were telling me about me having to have that one true thing, that I believe, the truth that I know is true 100% without a doubt, right? My own truth. The one thing that I can tell everybody on the planet that I know is true beyond a doubt is love. There is love. God loves us unconditionally. We are loving beings. There is love. Love is the one thing I will always believe in and never stop believing in until I take my last breath. Beyond that, everything else is, who knows? I mean, well, actually, I should say love and gratitude, because those are the two highest vibrations.
Well, you can't have love if you don't have any gratitude.
You had to have gratitude.
Yeah. I mean, and again, what do you love? The flavors of love. I love peach ice cream, and I love the, I'm not going to say the sports team because I don't want hate mail. Clearly you're of Satan if you love this team. I actually got one like that, and I'm like, oh God, okay, won't talk about sports anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, what do you love? I love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and my children. What do you love?
I love you.
And I love you. And it's like, where's that vibration going? It's some people love people so much that, they'll go ahead and put a bullet in their brain.
Right. I know. It's crazy. People do crazy things for love.
I love Mandy Moore, she played it in there. She's grabbing that Bible and she's like, I am filled with Christ-like love, right?
I remember that.
Like, oh, you don't see the hypocrisy in that? No, they don't.
Right.
And then,
oh my God.
it's just that's why now is the time for cocooning and compassion. So I'm going to recommend, and I'm thinking that you get a lot of energy that you channel in that way. That it's if you can take this time, everyone, for cocooning and compassion, and sit down and just write love letters to your beloved, and you don't need a name. Say, dear beloved, dear twin flame, dear that whom I seek, whatever. Begin to write those love letters and then send them off to God. God's not Santa Claus. and send them. Sit in prayer, and that's where ritual comes in. You must write it on a yellow piece of paper and put it in a red envelope. No. Sit down, and if you can't, just think of it. Stand outside and go, I love you, whoever you are and wherever you are, I love you. And he or she or they will feel it.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I love that. That's awesome. So Sarah, how can if people want to connect with you, where should we send them? I'm going to list your links in the description on YouTube. So we'll have all of your links to whitelightexpress.org, which is Sarah's nonprofit organization for intercessory prayer and world peace. And also your website. What is the best way for them to reach out if they need some counseling for like trauma or grief, especially if they've lost a loved one or they've had trauma, they've had maybe sexual molestation in their past or something, and they're traumatized and they need somebody to help. What is the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Well, thank you for asking. It's bluecollargoddess.com. I mean, I've got a few, supernaturalpassport.com. But if you really are looking for cosmic triage, because that is my specialty. I mean, I can't do what you do, but if you are really seeking the answer to, you're stuck right now and you need to, I'm not a fortune teller, but I can tell you, if you are ready to hear a little bit of truth, go to cosmictriage.com. That's what I was on Beyond Belief with George Norrie, and that's where you and I found each other, by the way. And
right.
It's like, please don't come to me with George Norrie as an instrument of Satan. I swear to God, I will.
I love George Norrie, but anyways, that's just me.
Just like, oh Lord, no.
I love George Norrie.
That's where
I think
we
he's
found
awesome.
each other. It was because I was on Beyond Belief with that. But cosmic triage is really, it's that, it's I get so many of these psychics out there who put band-aids over bullet wounds, and I promise you I won't put a band-aid over your bullet wound. We'll get you some healing.
Awesome. Well, I thank you so much, my sister, for joining me here today on this interesting. Yes.
Thank you for asking me. And it's you are not keep sending all the people who just need, think they're being chased by demons or, rats from hell and that stuff. Yeah, that's not your job, baby. You teach ascension better than anybody I know.
Thank you.